All right, guys, just an update on some of the news out there, which is almost none at all, but there's a little bit. I talked about the transfers on campus this weekend. Um, Probably got a little bit too hyped knowing, our track record so far with all this stuff recently. The portal's about to close, classes are about to start, so we are done with the portal, and I would give Billy and Co. an F. Terrible, terrible work in the transfer portal. Did not do well at all. Landed a commitment today from Deuce Spurlock, a linebacker. I'm happy to get him. He's a body. He's a position of need, so fills a need on the roster. How much talent? He's a young guy, basically a high school kid. Out of high school, he was an 8.6 with low 3-star. Hasn't really contributed in college yet, but apparently evaluations on him are pretty high out of Michigan, so hopefully he develops into a Ventrell Miller type, decent linebacker. But between him and Taraja Mitchell or Tahada Mitchell, very, very mid type pickups there. Very bad pickup at quarterback. These guys were all low-rated transfer players. The only one we got that was a good pickup was Cameron Jackson. He's going to be a stud next year in the SEC. I believe that on the D-line. Caleb Banks was a 4-star transfer, but he's never played a snap in college. Most of these guys haven't hardly played. To Jada Mitchell, somebody said that he was hurt. Well, he also came back healthy and couldn't win his job back. He lost his job, plain and simple, healthy or not. His stats were mid at best, even when he did play in 2021. So, again, you're getting a guy there who probably does come in and play rotationally. I think every one of these players we got were rotational guys. Don't see anybody who's a day one starter except for Cameron Jackson. He's probably your day one guy there. But, yeah, man, just super disappointing. Get one commitment out of the weekend. Campbell, the O-lineman from Miami, who was trash last year, 5-7 team, who couldn't block, probably a 250-pound, defensive lineman from, Bethune-Cookman. So I don't know how excited we want to be for that one. But, again, a decent guy. Some other teams are looking at him. Tennessee wants him, so he's obviously got some talent there. He hasn't announced yet. Sounds like NIL is a factor, and if that's a factor, I wouldn't have much faith in Florida. Just being realistic here. So hopefully we can get him because we need bodies on the offensive line. I mean, we lost 2 of our starters and didn't replace them with nobody. Makuza, the Baylor kid, who was a must-get, probably going to Nebraska over Florida. So y'all try to spin that one for me. Go ahead. Yeah, so that was our weekend. No excitement there. And now we're going to go into spring ball with 70-something scholarship players on the roster. Took a class in his first class with less than 20 players. And this should have been a much bigger class in high school than it was. We needed and had to have players, whether the average was a certain grade per commit or not. You have to have bodies. How are you going to field a team and have a healthy team and practice with no depth? I mean, this is just, the portal was a must get. If you're going to go that route with a 21-man class because you want to keep it at a certain talent level, fine. Pitch me that all day. I'll buy it if you killed it in the portal. The portal was a failure, bro. What in the world are we doing? Florida State's cleaning house, Tennessee, all these other teams, I would have gave them B+, every one of them, in the transfer portal. Nobody has struggled. Arkansas has landed players. Everybody's out there landing these top-tier kids in the portal, except for Billy, except for Florida. I mean, y'all can go ahead and try to spin it however you want. I love my Gators, but I'm not happy with them right now. I'm not happy with the direction that Billy's taking us. I don't have any faith in it, and his game time management, his play calling, his roster management has been terrible. Too many guys have left that still could have contributed on this team, and we all wanted that. But you had to replace them, dude. You got to replace players. You can't just let the roster turn over and not pick up guys to come in and take their spots. And there was so many players in the portals. There still is, and that opportunity's gone. Guess what? Next opportunity's after spring. Guess what happens after that? A lot less talented players are going to be in the portal. Guys in the spring are not as good. This is the window to pick up the talented players after the bowl games, the kids that were, had really good years. After spring, the best kids are going to stay on their teams. You're going to be getting sloppy leftovers. That spring portal period, I'm sure Florida will pick up, 1 to 2 players, and that's what we're going to go into next season with, guys. That's it. After spring portal, it's done. There is no other opportunity. So this was a big choke and miss by this staff. Again, unless somebody just, magically enrolls here in the next couple weeks without visiting, which I don't see happening. Neither does all the national writers out there. If you ask them, they'll tell you Florida's done in the portal. This is what we're going into spring with. And if y'all think that Graham Mertz is going to come in and save this team next year, guys, we're looking at 5 to 6 wins at best. Florida, I hope for 8-4, but I'm not calling that. And you're talking about Gator Dave. Every major podcast is calling it. These guys are more realistic than average fans out there. They're not happy. They're not putting a positive spin on the direction of everything. It's bad. It's as bad as it looks, guys. I mean, y'all can try to twist numbers and stats and player average and all this, but the reality is we're getting smoked and left behind compared to our rivals. You got to look at what we're doing compared to Florida State, compared to Georgia, compared to Tennessee. It's got to be as good, if not better. Look, y'all can say what you want. They play in the ACC, Florida State does. Their class rank, 20th, whatever, they don't play in the SEC. They don't have to recruit top 3. They can get away with a 19th ranked class. Guess what that ranks out in the ACC? Probably like 2nd or 3rd, okay? Y'all don't understand that. That can win in that conference, and all you got to do is win in your conference to get to the playoff or to be a top 10 team. And with the talent they're bringing in, with that supplemented with the portal, Norvell's got a model there. He's got a model, and I can't stand to seeing him be so successful. Now, do I think they sustain it? I don't, because Travis is coming back, so I think they have a second year of equal or more success next year. They will beat Florida again. I really believe that at this point with what we have and what they have. Same thing with Tennessee. Look at Joe Milton. Transfer guy from Michigan. They go out and get him. Talented guy comes in. Look what he did in the bowl game, guys. I mean, what are we doing? I know he struggled at Michigan a little bit, but the kid had the ceiling, had the upside, the height, the talent profile. He has the athleticism, and without somebody who can run with this offensive line we're bringing back, we're doomed. We are doomed. I just don't see it. You think the run game was good this year? Well, you know what that run game was in that bowl game? You better be expecting something similar to that going into next year. I don't look for this team, even with the 2 good running backs, to be able to push people around with a bunch of inexperienced guys that were backups this year. Hopefully they can develop, and I'm sure they will. They will be better in that bowl game, but I don't look for a major jump on. I look for a regression with this offense, the offensive line. We're probably looking year 3 before this team is even an 8-win, 9-win team. So, if that's what we're expecting at a place like UF is, 4 or 5 year rebuilds, that's not modern college football, guys. That doesn't happen. When's the last coach recently, okay, I'm talking about recently, in the last 5 years, that's still at its school after 4 or 5 years, and now they're competing at a high level? Go ahead and rattle them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want a list of 4 or 5 coaches that are doing that right now. There's not that many out there. You can talk about Harbaugh, different conference. Go look at the average ranking nationally for Big Ten teams and where they're ranked and finish the season, okay? What's their record in their conference? The best recruiting teams in their conference, Michigan, Ohio State, best 2 teams in conference, in the playoff, okay? They win their conference or right there at it at their conference title game. Florida has got to start recruiting at a top 5 level nationally in order to be in the top 3 in the SEC. Without that, Florida is not going to win anything, guys. I mean, that's just the reality. Those are the numbers. This stuff has been backed up, statted up. You can say what you want. I'm not bought into the Billy train right now. I'm just not. I mean, everybody's got to give him year 1. I mean, we don't have a choice. And I don't want him fired. I want to see what he does year 2 because I think he's going to prove me right. We're going to be looking at a Will Muschamp type failure of a season, which, again, I hope I'm eating my crow next year. I hope y'all are on here. Please be in my comments. And I hope I'm eating my crow. I hope I'm completely wrong. I'm going to be cheering for Florida every game. I'm going to be hoping Mertz slings it around, scoring touchdowns, yelling "Go Gators," Gator chomping, the whole bit, the whole 9 yards. But I'm just reporting and putting out there what I'm reading, what I'm seeing. These are facts. I mean, there's not a good way in my eyes that you can twist these facts either. It's getting so bad. It's getting hard to kind of get that Gator spin on it, guys. It really is. You know, you added the offensive lineman to the class, Caden Jones. I love the pickup, but then that kind of shoots down y'all's player average, you know, that y'all keep throwing out there. I just don't see it. You know, it's a 9-2, but y'all got to realize 1 point, a 9-3 and a 9-2 class, that's a massive difference in talent, according to the rankings, how they do that. That's literally 2 or 3 5-stars difference than what we have. Y'all don't understand that. That's not close. It's not close. Okay? Now, the 6th and 8th ranked class in the country, one player difference, okay? You start talking about the 11th ranked class and the 2nd ranked class, 3rd, 4th ranked class in the country, massive difference, okay? You're talking about Alabama with the most all-time talented class in history. One of them, anyways. I think A&M had it last year. I think Bama broke the record this year for the most talented recruiting class ever. So, you know, I like a couple of the pickups. They're solid guys. They definitely fill a need. I definitely think they contribute next year because we're so thin. What scares me is that offensive line, guys. That is scary. Not so much worried about receiver. I think a lot of young guys can contribute there and contribute well. Also, another narrative that's fallen through, Jaden Rashada struggled at the UA game, and what he struggled with, he had the strongest arm, throws a good ball, none of that's an issue. Let's just throw in the weight thing, right? He's got to gain a ton of weight to get to play in shape. I don't think he makes that weight by game one next year. Nor do I think you throw a redshirt freshman or a true freshman in game 1 next year. So what I'm thinking is if he does even play, it will be the end of the season. I don't think he does, though, and the reason being he's not ready for college. His dad said he needed development. Coaches said he needs a lot of work in development at the UA game. Billy kind of talked about that development a little bit. He's not a guy. He's not a top 20 5-star guy, guys. He is a talented 4-star kid who has the recruiting profile of a kind of a Mertz and Emory Jones, kind of in that area. Felipe Franks was actually ranked, I think, exactly in the same spot nationally. I think it was like 54th. And Felipe is a little bit similar build, tall, lanky, not super fast, but athletic enough to run a little bit. Willing runner, cannon of an arm. Rashada looked good all week, but he struggled with getting outside the pocket and throwing on the run, throwing off platform. And when things broke down, he struggled reading the defense, locked onto receivers. So that was kind of his MO all week. So, you know, just look for him to still be struggling with that, guys, through the spring and fall. He's not going to get that overnight. That's going to take a year before he's able to function in a college offense and be able to play with, you know, at a high level. So he's still got a lot of development ahead of him, and that's coming from all the national guys, not just me. So I'm going to kind of backtrack on that. I thought he was a little bit more polished than what he is. He does have some athleticism and can run a little bit, but it's not burn you type speed. It's pick up 5 yards, get a first down type speed, which is really all we need if we have the pieces around him, is for him to be mobile enough to get a few yards. But again, I'm still excited. I love Jaden Rashada. I do think, you know, the year after he will probably be our quarterback. In 2024, he'll probably be the guy. Now, again, that depends on, you know, DJ Lagway. I do think that'll be a competition to watch. Lagway is a more talented, better passer, better runner. I do think he is a more talented prospect, more of a Cam Newton, you know, transcendent type quarterback than Rashada is. I actually think Rashada might start out, but I actually think Lagway will beat him out either the following year or even through the season. I'm not as high on Rashada as I am on Lagway, so I think that's how things play out. But it doesn't matter. To have two talented guys like that competing will be so nice, so much better than what we have right now. Man, just imagine if somebody gets hurt, the starting quarterback, what's behind him, guys. And that's why you got to recruit. That's why you got to, hit it hard in the transfer portal. Florida should have took 2 quarterbacks. If they were going to settle with Mertz, they should have took 2 quarterbacks. That's my opinion. And the preferred walk-ons they took, I like the guys. Man, okay, how many preferred walk-ons are starting quarterbacks in college football? None. Literally, Stetson Bennett is the only example. Okay, that's not the norm. Okay, that's a rarity that he's like an anomaly that he plays at as high a level as he does. And the only reason he plays at that high level is because of the talent around him. You take him and put him on a less talented team or put him in the NFL, he's not going to be successful. And if he does, more kudos to him. He's not a bad quarterback, but he just doesn't have the size to do it in the NFL at a high level, I don't think. But yeah, so where Florida's at, that's the reality of things. That's where we're sitting right now. I hope we play above what my expectation, and even if we could, man, I just hope we get 8 wins so bad. We need it as a fan base. This team needs it. We need to be successful. I really hope we rely, we get more creative with the offense. We're going to have to be like extremely creative in order to move the ball and be successful with the pieces on this team. Hopefully we get creative in the run game, getting inside, outside, not so much, these dives up the middle, running into a stacked box like we did in the bowl game. It was like Billy just bumping his head into a wall or something. I don't know. Hopefully we can figure something out, man, because this has just been super, super disappointing. That's all I got for y'all today. Just a mid-January update, kind of closing things down on the portal. Not going to be a ton of videos out there, right now this time of year for anybody, including myself. So y'all just stick with me. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully some better news to come. Maybe spring will be real positive. Maybe we'll get some good reports. And we'll see how things go. There will be national guys at spring practice, so we will get some real-time, reports on Mertz and some of these other guys on the team, Jaden Rashada. And really interested to hear more about Max Brown this spring. That's the guy I'm hoping makes a massive jump. But go Gators. Everybody have a good day. Chomp, chomp.